Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minion Monday here in Coleslaw Cup. I have a suspicion that the app just went out in the Discord.
Do you guys see the stream yet?
Wait, are you streaming?
Okay, yeah, it's working.
Yep.
Lovely.
Okay, sweet.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Okay, yeah, we should all test our voices and then listen to how it sounds.
Mine's good.
Yeah, my PlayStation waited for us to go live before it decided to start taking off. But we moved,
No, you
we
launched
rolled.
the game again.
It's a bit of an odd.
Okay. It seems to be in working order.
Does my audio come through fine? Good enough volume?
In the party, I hear a bit of background from you. I'll have another listen to the actual stream.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. It'll quiet down when we're in a race. I'll be at my voice level. Well, I could hear it then, so it can't be that quiet.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll see how this works out. Hopefully, it's not too bad. And we can make adjustments for next week if we get any feedback.
Well, I hope we don't get feedback. That's a terrible sound. Starting as we mean to go on, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. It's quieting down.
Alright, good morning, afternoon or evening ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you are watching from around the world. Welcome to finally Season 3 of the Coleslaw Cup. We're here in Round 1 in Bahrain. Time for qualifying. Obviously it's dry, it's Bahrain, that's to be expected. We look forward to getting any weather reports for the race from any of the drivers who are in this, but pretty confident it's going to be dry as well. So we wait for anyone to leave the pits, and it looks like it's going to be the Mercedes Smith Pell, lowered first potentially, to start off this new season. Also in the commentary box with me, we've got two gentlemen here, Cornet and Willans, obviously myself, Elmer Jacko. Welcome guys.
You.
Let's go. I'm excited for the new season.
Absolutely.
We've got Cornet as the sideline reporter. He's watching on from behind the barriers. So he'll be right there on the scene as soon as Dace crashes.
Alright, I actually am on board with Dace, as you said that. He's in a Williams this season, and he is, I think, about the third car on track. We'll bring up the track map to make sure that's the case. Fourth, actually. Okay, so there's an AlphaTauri actually in the lead of this queue. It's Dusty Lusky. Of course, he has won races in this server in the past, not last season, but in Season 1. Actually, it was not called Coleslaw Cup in that season. It was Team B7 Racing League, I believe. But it is the same server, so it's a bit of a continuation. And he was a force to be reckoned with in that first season, winning multiple races. And I think he was third last season as well. So this is a driver well capable of scoring many podiums. So watch out for Dusty Lusky in that AlphaTauri. Did I say Toro Rosso earlier? I might have.
Oh, you already.
Either
I think
way.
you did.
Yes, it is an AlphaTauri. I should correct myself. Has been for about 3 years. Alright, on board with the Canadian. He's about to start the first qualifying lap of the season. Let's see. Oh, there's cars coming out of the pit lane. Hopefully they see him coming and stay out of the way. That's an Aston Martin that does so. Well apex through turn 1. Oh,
Ooh,
gets a
little bit
bit
wobbly.
sideways. Yeah, that was certainly quite wobbly. We know that's a traction zone where people can come off, and he did well to hold that actually. Nicely apex through the next corner. He may have thrown that lap out actually with that wiggle earlier, but it's always nice to get a banker on that's valid and relatively close to the pace. We've got a Haas in front. Who is that? It's Bacon. So yeah, Bacon we know.
Impossible.
We'll get out of the way. Oh, that's very deep. Yeah, that's the lap gone from Dusty, unfortunately. Something funny there?
Nothing. Don't read too deep into it.
Okay.
Smith Pell off in sector 2, letting everybody by.
Yeah, that's the yellow flag you see there. He was well off track, letting, I think Scornsey was the first car through, and then it became really awkward with when to rejoin. Did a good job of
Yep,
staying out of the way.
still going. Racing around Jeddah at the moment, I think.
Kind of difficult to tell who exactly is about to set a lap time. Might be one of these Aston Martins.
Sharia Coleslaw is on a fast lap. Coming through sector 3. So Nicky sets his first lap time, provisional
first lap
pole,
of the season.
immediately beaten by Scavney.
Scavney on mediums. So that's something we need to talk about actually. We have choice now, as of a recent update. In qualifying, there won't necessarily be all on softs. I don't know why you would go mediums in qualifying, but certainly it means that Scavney did not choose the softer selection of tyres. He at least went for balanced or harder.
Yep, Easy Rider Yowie getting himself up to 4th as well, so not bad provisionally for the Red Bull team. However, we do have a lot more people to set their laps.
Yeah, I'm currently on board
put
with
himself up there
Galloway.
in
He's
P3.
got a sector to go before finishing his lap. Let's see if we can remove that, yeah.
Knuckles went P9.
Of course, currently Scornsey up front with a 28.6. He's currently 4 tenths clear of Shelley in second. We definitely predicted a 28 for pole. I think they might head towards the low 28s. Galloway goes into 5th place there for McLaren. His teammate is still in the pits, so I'm not sure if he actually came out or if he's gone back in before setting a time. Either way, we'll go back to... Oh, I was going to go to Bacon as he crossed the line, but he went up to 4th. Respectable time there for the Haas. And on the front row, also into the 28s, goes Lightwork. So, Scornsey and Lightwork, good picks, good early picks for race winners and potential championship contenders, I would say. Amongst others, such as Dace and Jonathan Dunk, for example.
Yeah, I'd say Scornsey's probably... He's most likely the favourite going off of past form in other leagues, but yeah, who knows?
Can't sleep on
Drivers'
Lanzi
performances
either.
can vary.
Lanzi is a rocket sometimes, and with a bit of consistency, I think you could find him in the top 3 quite easily as well by the end of the standings.
He's chilling and lap time killing. There's Lanzi.
True. Alright, we're on board here with Dusty now again. This time hopefully he can set a more representative lap. I think he set that 29.5 on a second flying lap, I want to say. So unlikely to have gotten the most out of that with potentially not a full charge of ERS and maybe a few extra % of tyre wear as well. So 9th, I'm sure he can do better than 9th.
But about tires, can I ask you, do the tire allocations actually work now? Can you explain me?
Okay, so I believe in qualifying, the only way to get mediums, which we've seen Scavney use, I think, is to go for the harder option. You get 3 choices. You get balanced, which is I think you get 2 mediums, a hard and a soft. This is of the 4 race tyres, right? If you go harder, you get 2 mediums, 2 hards, and if you go softer, you get 2 softs, 1 medium, 1 hard. And this is in addition to the qualifying sets, which I think there's an extra 2 or 3.
So basically they have updated the game and they've added that in. As Slayer Rise crosses the line to start his flying lap, he hasn't set a time yet.
Yeah, so you say you just start his lap. Okay, so I'm on board with Slayer now. Of course, Dusty's teammate. This is a pretty strong team. We actually have to look at the teams as well to figure out who we think might be a Constructors' Championship favourite. And Slayer and Dusty is a pretty good team, I would say.
Press triangle, jack out.
Press triangle. Hide UI, okay.
Slayer Rise just went purple in Sector 1.
Okay, that's still a glitch. That might be just other people he can see on his leaderboard.
It's fine,
so
we'll go with it. We'll go with it for the hype. We'll go with it for the hype. Coleslaw Cup, baby.
Sure. Slayer is well purple. Much faster
Slayer
than Slayer
is ahead of Yana Watmir currently. Coming through Sector 2.
I mean, Yana, he's not even in the session, but okay.
So he's ahead of him. 100% accurate reporting. True.
We have intel,
true.
by the way, that it's going to be dry for the race. I'm not sure if any of us mentioned that.
No.
Just in case anyone was in doubt of what the weather would be in Bahrain. Okay, Slayer's coming to the end of his lap here. We'll see where this pops him. I'm going to guess somewhere around 8th to 10th. Oh, 9th. That was pretty good. Wow. I'm an oracle.
Guy.
Let's go. Okay, who's next?
Scripted. We're doing it in post. We're doing it in post, guys. It's F1 East.
I missed who you said. Sorry, what was that?
Tweezer.
I think Tweezer is next.
Okay. Tweezer is currently 20th. Let's have a look.
I think he's
the
gone the
Alfa
box.
Romeo. Undecided? Yeah, you're right. He is. Okay, I'm going to go with Dusty since I'm pretty sure he's just ending an outlap. On for another Alpha Tauri lap. Wow, why am I reverting to Toro Rosso? This is kind of crazy. Anyway, into turn 1. Where does he brake? Slightly too late by the looks of it. But can he recover it through turn 2? Don't get sideways. Pretty good, I'd say.
Scavney crosses the line and goes P7.
Nice. Scavney looking good. So is that a team of Scavney and Lanzi? That is a strong team. I think Shreya just bolted up to P4 as well. That's pretty good there
up
in
to
the Red Bull.
P4.
I got a feeling
The
that
crowd's
Dayton
a lot.
Shelley could also be a really good variant.
Did you say Dyson Shelley?
It's,
Whoa, there goes
as Lanzi
Lanzi.
goes fastest.
Okay, I'm all
Lap
over the
time
place
killing.
in spectating, by the way. This is not good. The other team we've got here is Lightwork and Nikki. If Nikki can pull some consistent top 10s out, Lightwork could really pull that team to a good result as well. Not to not to crap too much on Nikki, but Lightwork is definitely going to be a championship contender.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there are a few drivers here that are up there. I think if you're one of the top drivers, you need to be on your A game. If someone like Scornsy or Lanzi doesn't have a good season, they aren't going to be able to just waltz to the championship because there are so many people that can pick up the pieces. Date is up there when he doesn't crash. Lightwork is always up there. Dusty's going to be up there. Scornsy's going to be up there. Lanzi's going to be up
Dusty,
there.
he just slapped
Jonathan
in
Dunk is going to be up
P4.
there.
Also into the 28s. We've now got 7 cars in the 28s. This is much more like it. I guess they were bankers in the first few runs. Yeah, these are starting to become some very competitive times. Lanzi, I'm very impressed with.
A-Dub crosses the line and goes P8. I'm not sure if he beat his prior lap, but there we go.
We're on board here with Lightwork as he crosses the line. Does he improve? Yes! Oh, very close to Lanzi. Takes P2 again though, away from Scornsy. So yes, this is okay, a bit of a surprise. Where's Scornsy at then? Is he going to improve? He's got one corner left on his current lap. I'm not sure if it's, well, it definitely looks like it's a timed lap, not an out lap. Where can he put the Ferrari? The Ferrari, of course, that was the Constructors' Championship car last season. Wow! Demolishes it, goes 3/10 almost in front of Lanzi. Is that going to be demoralising, we think, for the others? That's quite a margin.
We could be looking at some 27s here, you know, on the last runs. Obviously, the track is going to grip up. The drivers are going to be more comfortable pushing towards the limits as well.
You're absolutely right about
but
that.
Yeah, he's really laid down the gauntlet there. That's a statement of intent there from Scornsy.
He will need to hurry back to the pits, though, to get a... I don't know how he wants to prepare his tyres, but... Oh, there's 5 minutes left. He should be alright.
He'll be okay. As we have a Red Bull off there. Easy Rider Yoey's had a little bit of a spin. Down to Cornet to tell us who that one.
It's not that much of an easy ride. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Con. Back to Jacko.
I'm on to Tweezer now. He's the only driver yet to set a lap time. He's currently negotiating the start of the second sector. Looks pretty good up until this point. Where do we think he will slot in if he can finish this lap? Somewhere around 13th to 15th? I swear if he goes 14th. No, This is a very slow negotiation of turn 10.
Yeah, I was going to say the trade talks have broken down on this negotiation, I think. It's not looking like a good lap from Tweezer. Maybe able to lift himself above a few people as Sharia Coleslaw retires there. That's in the pits, I believe.
Yeah, might not want to use any more soft compound tyres, which is fair enough, especially with a time that he may already find to be his PB. Either way, we got just one corner left for the Alfa Romeo of Tweezer. What lap time can he pluck out of the out of the night sky?
He doesn't box, so clearly he believes in the lap and cannot lift himself off the bottom spot. He should have pitted there. I don't know why he didn't. It was quite clear that it wasn't a very good lap. So we see Nicky retiring as well in the pits.
I'm surprised by that. We definitely know Tweezer is quality enough to lay down a lap that's competitive. So not sure what's going on. And that's it.
He's not going to get another time now as well because he's not going to be able to get out.
Unless he's fueled for another run. He could be harvesting this lap.
His fuel is blinking.
His fuel is blinking, so I doubt it, but possibly.
Alright, I'm on with Slayer now. Currently 16th. I expect Slayer to be slightly higher than this. Although the field is very competitive now that I cast my eye properly across it. So, I don't know, actually, a top 10 is actually quite a feat for some of these guys. Like, Scavney is a very good driver, and he's currently outside the top 10. Galloway too, I would have imagined would have been in the top 10.
It's just incredibly competitive. It really is. There's just so many drivers that can put a really good lap time in. As Valentine lifts himself up to P18 in the Ferrari. Not quite sure he'll be happy with that, but it's better than P19, so...
I mean, Ferrari P1 and P18 currently, not too bad. Here comes Slayer, and, well, no change to the leaderboard, so that was either... I think it might have been a charging lap, now that I think about it.
Valentine can't be too disappointed. On average, a Ferrari driver is okay. So, can take that one. Scornsy on his outlap, as is Lanzi.
Oh, VTEC just moved up to P6, also into the 28th now. Very good lap there by the Haas. We're now with Dusty. He's coming across the line. I really don't know if this is an outlap or not. I think it was.
I believe so, based on the ERS.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, into turn 1. This time, much better, much cleaner, much closer to the apex. Turn 2 looked pretty good as well. Heading towards turn 4, does he take the esports line across the curb on the left? No. Possibly a bit of time on the board there.
Just saw Slayerized ran wide and span there as well in sector 2, so that puts an end to his flying lap.
Dace's last time there as well,
P16.
up into P4 for Williams. Not too shabby. Bit of curve there from Dusty, that won't be ideal. I think he's actually backed off.
Yeah, as Scornsy's coming through the final corner now.
To start
beginning
his
his
lap, I'm
hot lap.
pretty sure, yeah. Oh, did he back off?
Lanzi following just behind as well. Is he giving a toe to Valentine, perhaps? The
Could
selfless
be, yeah.
endeavour
I
by
think
him,
it is.
perhaps?
I'm going to ride with Lanzi for this lap. The Alpine looking very nice under the lights. Oh, he turns out of turn 1 though a little bit. Did not time that perfectly. This probably isn't going to be up at this point. He may still be able to improve the lap though overall. Again,
Scornsy
not
5
the
100ths
line.
off his sector 1 time.
Wow, just...
So he is still pushing.
Oh, Lanzi loses it. That's unfortunate. Alright, I'm on board with light work now. Let's see what's happening.
Timed that really badly.
Yeah, it looked like it. Scornsy is right on the delta at the moment.
Oh, that looked so close to invalid from light work. It could have been the perfect line, to be fair. Let's see if he takes the esports line through turn 4. Absolutely nails it. Possibly a bit of understeer though on the exit. Does he go purple?
Scornsy now 3 100ths up on the pole time.
Okay, Scornsy then. We'll jump on board with him as he's got 1 corner to go this lap.
Can he improve his advantage? It's all going to come down to this final corner. Can he nail the traction out? On the run up to the line, DRS wide open as well, and he crosses the line. He does improve by 2 100ths of a second.
Wasn't quite fine the 27 though.
Light
Bit of a
work
toe
with a
there.
massive toe.
Yeah, that looked... Who was that in the Haas?
I think that was Bacon.
Oh no, he's lost it! Ah, that's unfortunate. Would have liked to see where that would have put him. We're about to lose a polystyrene board here as well. Yes, we are.
Shelley has backed off. Dusty looks like he could still be on a hot lap though. He's 7 100ths up on his time. He's tucked up in the slipstream as well behind the Red Bull.
That's enough to overtake Jonathan Dunn.
A little bit of understeer turning in there to be expected in the dirty air though, I suppose, but he is going to have the run up to the line with the toe from the Red Bull. And he's out of fuel at the line.
Wow.
2 tenths off his best.
Here comes Scavney into the pit.
Scavney pulls into the pit, and I think that's the end of qualifying. It's Scornsy on pole.
Alright.
That would have been really close though between Lightwork and Scornsy. I would have liked to have seen where that had ended up.
At least Lightwork
yeah,
was looking at it
congratulations to
front row
Scornsy.
there. Alright, so Scornsy, that's another pole for Ferrari. Ended last season on pole in the Ferrari, and now, new driver at Ferrari, also on pole. So we'll see if they can continue that run of form, win the first race potentially. See what happens. We got Lanzi alongside him on the front row. Fantastic job by Lanzi. Lightwork and Dace, that's a feisty second row as well. Whew. Williams with 2 cars in the top 5. No mean feat.
Yeah, let's hope we have a clean lap 1 as well from the front runners. And I think we'll have a good race on our hands.
3/10 margin in the end is actually quite a decent amount. But it's 1 second covers the top 12, so there's plenty of wiggle room here for improving your position off the grid by the end of the race.
It could also be the difference in setup, because you can have a high downforce setup at Bahrain and make it work.
Very true.
Also low downforce.
Very true. Looking at the bottom of the grid, sorry. Really surprising to see Smith Pell that low. 19th place for Smith Pell. Surely he's going to be a candidate for the hardest charger point. Oh yes, for viewers that don't know what I'm talking about. There is a point for the driver that moves up the most positions. Also a point for fastest lap, and I believe for pole. So Scornsy is our championship leader at this point. 1 point ahead of everyone else. We've got support for Scornsy in the chat.
Stop the count.
Thank you to everyone for stopping by and having a look at what's going on here. We appreciate that. Is anyone else seeing wet tyres in Smith Pell's pit?
That's the Canadian master plan right there. It's got some chains as well in the back for the snow tyres as well.
For those 2 feet of snow that Dusty was mentioning.
Oh, hey there, bud. Put the chains on there.
Alright, we've got a bit of time here. We're about to go into the formation lap soon. The drivers are going to be selecting their strategies, their starting tyre, the amount of fuel they want to start with. Do they bet on a safety car, perhaps? But for us in the commentary box, who do we think's going to win this race? Will?
It's hard to look past Scornsey. Obviously, we know how consistent he is in the race. He's not the type of guy that makes mistakes. So yeah, I mean, I'd have to go with Scornsey. It might be the boring choice. I think Lightwork has definitely got a good chance though, showing some really good pace in qualifying. But yeah, it's going to completely depend as well on the setups and on the strategy.
Understandable. What about you, Cornet? What do you think?
For Dutch Pride, I want Lancy to win, but I'm going for Dace.
Oh, okay. Dace
He goes with the fish.
The flying fish. That's an interesting shout.
The flying fish. Shall we say, not a mainstream choice, but I understand.
He always has been really good about Bahrain, so I wouldn't.
Yeah. Alright, well, realistically, in terms of predictions, I think you have to be a bit silly to not go for Scornsey, especially when he's on pole. But I think I'll say Lansley's going to be in the fight. I think the top 3 are probably going to stay as the top 3, but in what order, I don't know.
Triangle again.
Triangle again? Yeah, that's a good idea. But actually, before we do that, we will bring up
My immersion.
the telemetry.
My immersion! No!
Let's have a look at the tyres. Okay, that's better.
That's a good point as well, because we've got Scornsey starting on the mediums as well.
Yeah, so
Up
we've got
front,
plenty of
Lanzi on the
mediums,
softs.
but softs on 3 cars. Bacon from 13th, Sharia from 9th, and as you said, most importantly, from the front row, Lanzi. So he'll be looking to take the lead early. You can definitely make soft hard work. You don't necessarily need the medium at all this race, obviously depending on safety cars. So I think Lanzi's actually got the best strategy. He might be compromised, you know, in that lap 6 to 9 region, depending on when he chooses to pit. But I'm pretty sure those can go to about 11, if need be. Someone like Scavney might even consider medium to soft. I've seen drivers try that. We've got a couple of hards in here too. The highest is Shelley, yeah. Shelley, VTEC and A-Dub. So that'll be interesting to see how the reverse strategy works. But now we are only seconds away from the start of the season. Cars are going to be pulling up into their grid boxes, hoping to pull up into their grid boxes, because of those, if they screw that up, they'll be disqualified and moved a bit back. There'll be a bit of a penalty for that. But it looks like Scornsey's lined up well.
Scornsey nails it. Lanzi really nails it.
Shelley does not.
Shelley does not nail it. Neither does Sharia.
Hopefully we get a good angle of this.
I always struggle with that. I'm always going over. Adel played it pretty safe there. As Knuckles goes over the mark as well.
Alright, I'm really hoping that I get a good angle of this. We're on board with Scornsey. Not on board, sorry. We've got a camera angle from Scornsey. Please show us something worth watching.
That doesn't look like a great start from Lanzi, actually. Lightwork has jumped him there.
Yeah, surprisingly poor.
Scornsey looks to have gotten away cleanly. Lanzi might even be under pressure from Dace and Shelley here. They're going to go possibly even 3 wide into turn 1 as we get the best camera angle I've ever seen. Damage there as well. There's a McLaren off.
Camera angle.
A little bit of contact between the Williamses as well. I think they've gotten away with it. That was a little bit of it looked like it was an orange element on the front wing, so maybe it was the one of the McLarens.
Jonathan Dunk has fallen down quite a few positions. I'm going to have to bring up this menu again to bring up the lost
Dusty
and gained.
picking up a 3-second time penalty already. That's rather strange.
Multiple warnings in one sector. Knuckles has
Dace
moved
and
up
Sharia
9
side by side.
positions in one
Sharia
sector.
and Dace side by side in the fight for P5 as well, coming down to the left-hand hairpin. Sharia backs out of that one, perhaps wisely as well, just trying to play it safe. Scornsey almost out of the DRS range already of Lightwork, who really needs to try and start pushing.
We've got
There's been a
problems
bit
down
of a
there.
kerfuffle.
Is there any wings between the two Haas drivers. That is unfortunate. I think they've both lost their front wing, or at least damaged it. Bacon's got no front wing whatsoever in 18th, and he's just passed his teammate.
Yeah, who's missing the end plate. Yeah. Nicky way back in his
Awful
natural
start
habitat.
for several
Light
of these
work has
guys.
fallen out of the DRS as well from Scornsey. Landsey keeping within his DRS, but there's still a couple of laps to... well, they've got this lap to try and make up that
Scavney challenging
deficit.
Dusty around the outside at the final turn. I think he just made it work as well. Spectacular move there from Scavney. Into the pits, it looks like for... Okay, Dusty must have had damage. Many cars into the pits. We've got Galloway, Valentine, Dusty, Jonathan, Dunk. Wow, okay. Both McLarens. There's going to be a stack. Oh my goodness. Awful. Truly awful.
We've had an absolute Hungary start here, I think. It's about a quarter of the grid are in the pits. Light work does seem to be losing touch a little bit to Scornsey as well, but Landsey staying with him on those soft compound tyres.
Sharia monstering Dace at the moment. Oh no.
Thanks, Con.
That's very unfortunate. Insult to injury there. We've got two cars up 9 positions, by the way. That's Knuckles and Smith Pell. Tweezer up 8 as well. Notable.
And we've got Tweezer off.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He's lost a position there to Nicky. He's now the last car yet to pit.
We go down to Cornet on the sidelines. What did that look like to you, Cornet?
It looked like he was tweezing.
Thank you very much for your insight.
It'll be interesting to see what these two Williams do. They are currently 4th and 5th. However, the car on the medium compound is behind the car on the hard. So do they swap? Potentially a good idea if Shelley were to let Dace through. Currently a 3/10 gap, and it might be helpful to let Dace go so Shriga doesn't apply pressure to the back of the Flying Fish. As Scornsey goes 32. Ooh, Landsey actually with a quicker lap time than Scornsey. So trying to stay
flying
with
on those soft tyres.
Landsey's trying to stay with light work, sorry.
Light work going to be under pressure here as well because he doesn't have the DRS from Scornsey as Dace gets past Shelley. Perhaps a scripted move, as you mentioned earlier. I think Light work may just be far enough ahead to survive going into turn 3.
Here's the DRS into turn 4.
Oh, turn 4.
Oh,
sorry.
Here comes Sharia potentially having a look. No, not going to happen. Landsey, of course, should be quicker at this point, we should mention on those softs. So, yeah, he'll be looking to get past the Aston Martin as soon as he can. Oh, that was very close. Sharia almost clouting the back of Shelley. Did well to turn away from the corner so he wouldn't do that. Further yellow flags.
Mercedes off as well.
That's going to be Smith Pell. He mentioned this was his second race going without the racing line, so adjusting to that particular assist might be part of the reason he's struggling here. Commendable though to reduce the number of assists as always.
Yeah, it might be, it may sound counterintuitive, but it may be a good move actually for Light work to maybe not fight Landsey. If he does come up behind him, he might want to be able to use Landsey to tow him up to the back of Scornsey if he wants a chance at winning this race. Otherwise, Scornsey may well just check out from Light work. But Landsey needs to get the pressure on. 6/10 between them is not enough as he gets some oversteer coming out of the final corner as well. The DRS wide open as Scornsey continues to extend his advantage, and Landsey has no reply.
Yeah, the DRS is reducing the gap to the Aston Martin ahead, but I mean he's not close enough, even probably for this next DRS zone into turn 4. Doesn't quite get the exit out of turn 1 or 2 for that matter. Actually lost ground. It looks like Sharia's kind of being unable to make the move on Shelley because Shelley's being pulled along by his teammate. Could be a good team ploy actually, now that I think about it.
So Knuckles and Easy Rider Yowie are fighting going into the F section, but I think Knuckles wisely stays behind Yowie there. It's not the place you want to try and fight.
Yeah, we should mention that Yowie is actually, this is his debut in the series. He didn't race at all last season, so it's a welcome to Easy Rider Yowie in the Red Bull, and he's doing very well to be in the top 10 on debut.
And we've had a bit of a... Tell us what's... Okay, Courtney can't tell us what's just happened.
Well, wait, I mean, you went a little bit robot there. Sorry about that, Will. I'm not sure what you said, but would you care to repeat it?
The moment's gone.
Sadness. Alright, well I'm looking for the smallest gap, and it looks like it actually might be for P19. Slayer applying some pressure to Jonathan Dunk for 19th. Not where I expected either of these guys to be in this race, but they of course both had incidents on lap 1, so trying to recover. And it looks like there's hard tyres on the McLaren in front.
Yeah, Lanzi really struggling to make a dent into light work. Really not putting him under the amount of pressure I would have thought he would be doing. Strategy not necessarily working. Sharia all over the back of Shelley, but it might take an ambitious move for him to get past.
Sharia actually set a purple sector.
Sharia actually sets the purple sector 1. Yeah.
Okay, great minds think alike. He might have
go
a go
for the
here.
move here if he thinks better of it. I would have sent that.
I know. So he's on the softs, and actually, with 2 compounds difference, it actually might be possible to pull that sort of a move up. But, you know, I think risk-averse nature of Sharia is probably smart. He's got no pressure from behind, and we've got to move.
And Lanzi gets past light work.
Wasn't expecting
They're still
that.
side by side. And light
The
work.
switch back from light
Can he
work
keep the position?
is beautiful, but Lanzi is now much closer going to the next DRS zone. This might be his opportunity to actually clear him on the main straight. Not sure what actually caused that whole scenario. I wonder if Lightwork maybe got a bit sideways, because the gap to Scornsy in front has sort of blown out to 3.7, having been about just under 2.5, I think, at the start of the lap.
I think Lightwork got a little bit early out of turn 10, with an oversteer wheel spin.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And this is Lanzi's chance now, and I'm sure he knows it. He's got to make the move here, but he's just still so far back.
But look at
I'm
the
not
problem.
sure, perhaps Lightwork running the lower wings.
He's also got 16% ERS, whereas Lightwork ahead is 80%. So I think that there might be some sort of wing difference here, or something like that. Like Lanzi has obliterated his battery, and it's not making anything happen.
And Lightwork gets squirrely again.
Costs Lanzi though. He tries to, make sure he avoids the rear. Obviously a good idea, but
Did seem like a slight overreaction, possibly, but.
Yeah, possibly, but he's also on the 6th lap of his soft tyres. They will be starting to even out at this point. Although Sharia's throwing no sign of that. I think it's really sideways.
Catches it.
We got yellow flags. It looks like Tweezer has lost it.
Tweezer.
Okay, yeah, that's unfortunate. It's a turn 2 thing. Dusty clears him. Valentine clears him. Oh, we've got Smith Pell as well around.
Lightwork's trying to break the DRS here to Lanzi, and if he uses the DRS down this straight, he may well do that, because I don't think Lanzi's going to have the battery to reply, and that's it. He's dropped the DRS. Now to Lanzi. Lanzi burns all of his ERS to just creep back inside of it, but he needs a good lap here, otherwise he is going to fall out of touch.
He did get it. He did get the DRS though, to be fair. So
yep, he does not have the battery to do that again, though.
Absolutely not. He should start considering when his pit window should be. I think the tyres still have a good few laps in them, but if he can find a gap, it might be helpful. This is the curse though of going on the softer tyre. You have to pit before these guys ahead, and you may come out in traffic, which can be super detrimental to trying to make an undercut work. So we have to keep an eye on where he comes out, should he pit before them. Bacon catching VTEC. Okay, yeah, we got an 8/10 gap between the two Haas guys. Unfortunate to see them this low. I would have expected Haas to... Again, so many strong teams, VTEC and Bacon, no exception to that, but they've both lost a massive amount of positions, 8 and 4 respectively.
It does seem to me like the softs are starting to fall off performance-wise, though. Shria's lost touch to Shelley, as well as Lanzi losing touch to Lightwork. Perhaps starting on the softs just was not a good idea from a strategy perspective.
Yeah, I think it might have been a good idea, but you just had to make it work. You had to be in the lead in Lanzi's case, or ahead of the pack that Shria's involved in, to make it work for that Red Bull. As you say, they're both, well, yeah, on the precipice of falling out of DRS in Sharia's case, or already out of DRS in Lanzi's case.
Shelley's struggling to keep within the DRS of Dace as well, but I think that's more just a pace difference between the two drivers.
I actually think Shelley's done a pretty good job, because he's on the harder compound. Into the pit goes Lanzi. Okay,
and into the pits goes
that is
Sharia
the end of
as well.
7 laps only.
The case.
That is early.
It has to be a 2-stopper, right?
I think if they can go hard, they might be able to get to the end. But that is still early. Where are they going to emerge is the question. If it's in a gap, this could work out very well. If it's not in a gap, it's bloody
Will
awful.
Lanzi beat the Aston Martin? I don't think he will. I think Nicky might just come out ahead of him.
Okay, well, one item of traffic is not that bad.
Yes.
He will take a while to heat these up, and if he can catch the Aston Martin at a point where he can just DRS past, he'll be fine.
Bacon and VTEC 6 up.
Yep, you're right. 5/10 gap now between the two Haas drivers.
VTEC low on the ERS as well. Could be a move here for Bacon if he wants to be ambitious into turn 1.
I don't know about that on your teammate, but maybe set it up for turn 4.
Turn 4 should be the place that he goes for it now then.
Should mention also that there's no driver come out between Lanzi and Shreya, so Shreya's got a good amount of gap on each side of him. He can just push, hope to make an undercut work. So there's no move there between the Haas drivers.
Scavney all over the back of Knuckles though for P7.
Okay, we'll jump on board with that.
It also looks like that Shelly has more pace than Days. He keeps getting into the 210s.
Yep, Knuckles
10 and 11.
Knuckles picked up a big bit of understeer there through the right-hander. Scavney is all over the back of him. This should be a pretty simple DRS pass as if Bacon does actually get past VTEC in the end.
Shelley's going to pass Dace.
VTEC immediately goes off, I think, at the hairpin.
So for the second time this race, the Williams swap positions. Really expected Dace to be able to get away here, as Scavney also makes the move on Knuckles with DRS. So Shelley doing a pretty good job here.
Switchback. Knuckles is going to be right up in the DRS, in the slipstream and with the DRS. He could overtake Scavney down into the right-hander of turn 4. They're going to be side by side.
Oh, big swoop around the outside by Scavney.
Carries a little bit more speed though, and I think he might just keep this. It depends. Can Knuckles keep his nose in? No, he can't. That wouldn't be wise. But Scavney does go a little bit wide there. Maybe opens up a move
we've lost
into
Bacon.
the right-hander, but
Bacon spins at the last turn on the way into the pits.
Have a virtual safety car.
Yeah, that was for the Haas, I believe, unless I missed something. Don't see anyone else off. But he did pit. He's pitting on hard as well, so...
Into the pit lane.
Oh man, he lost his front wing. I didn't notice that. Okay. On to another set of mediums. Hopefully they're not a scrub set.
It looks like Bacon learned from Jack Apron.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Might be an opportunity for people to pit here if the virtual safety car stays out. It is a bit of a cheap free, sort of not completely free, but cheap pit stop. Might consider seeing...
decides against it.
Yeah,
and
Lightwork's going to take advantage
in favour
of
it.
This could be massive. Depends how long this lasts. If it's for his entire pit stop and transit down the pit lane, this is massive. Anyone else joining him? Dace is. This is early for mediums, by the way, so these guys aren't getting the maximum stint length out of these tyres, but this is still a massively cheap free pit stop.
Massively cheap pit stop, yeah. And that was for the entire transit and stop time as well for Lightwork. So yeah, he's got to have gained a lot there on Scornsey.
Emerges in P5. Oh, drive through.
As Dusty picks up the drive through.
So we're green flags now. For a reference, Lanzi was running with Lightwork, about 2 seconds behind Lightwork. The gap between them now is about 10 seconds, right?
About 10 seconds.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
These are going to take a bit to warm up, so it's going to fall back to maybe 8 seconds, but that's still an improvement by 6 seconds. Completely neutralises any undercut that Lanzi may have had. So that's really screwed Lanzi big time.
We might end up with an interesting race here as well. If Scornsey has to pit later on, he'll come out most likely behind Lightwork, but on faster tyres. We could have a fight for the win in a race that really looked like Scornsey might turn it into a procession at the front.
This is true. This is very true. I'm surprised Scornsey didn't pit, but maybe he has desires on soft tyres for the end of the race, depending on his wear, in which case coming back past a guy on hards might be an easier task than we think.
I think Lanzi's tyres will start to be getting... they should be warmed up by now, as he tries to claw back the DRS to Nicky, but he's not managing it so far. He's lost ground in the third sector. Lanzi's race pace so far has not really reflected his qualifying pace. Shout out to Shelley though. Shelley's doing a fantastic job right now on hards.
Absolutely. Shelley and A-Dub. A-Dub's only 2.5 seconds behind on the same strategy. Kind of a quiet, under-the-radar race there from the Mercedes driver. Just popped up there into P3. It actually seems to be closing slightly on Shelley as well. Easy Rider Yowie, only 2 seconds behind that, is also still on medium tyres. Fantastic job.
I don't think we've mentioned A-Dub once so far this race. This is just sort of what he does. He gets his head down, he goes burr.
He does go burr. It's almost his tagline.
He lays it down.
He lays it down. Goes brr. Yeah, so Nicky and Smith Pell, the other two drivers yet to pit, other than those guys in the top three. Smith Pell not having the greatest day, but apparently Mercedes don't like pit stops.
I mean, if you can go burr on the same set of tyres, then just go burr.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, Bacon's made 2 stops. And we got some drivers yet to make their first stop. Obviously, both times been for a new wing. So, not the greatest outing for Haas at all.
Lanzi finally starts to find a little bit of pace as well. He's not done very well with his ERS this race, though. That's one thing to be said. He's not quite going to get the DRS here as well because Nicky's deploying. And that might be perhaps one area that he looks at after the race for what could be optimised in future, what went wrong. He's really burned through that ERS very quickly.
He will get the DRS between turns 3 and 4 though, so I don't think he's going to be quite close enough, so this could actually be quite damaging to follow another car through that whole, second sector area where you can't really make a move. Potentially losing a lot more time to the cars in front than he needed to.
Yeah, he's going to be way too far back here.
Should mention, of course, that the other early pit stop that Sharia made is also going to be damaged by that VSC. He was on the back, of course, of both Williams guys, and now he's about 5 seconds behind Dace. So not ideal for the Red Bull driver either.
And Mercedes does finally decide to pit. Smith Pell comes in for fresh hard tyres that he's going to be trying to take to the end, I'd imagine now.
Absolutely. I'm pretty confident the guys who pitted early for the hards can make it as well. But definitely
and,
it's better.
What would you say is the
later.
pit delta here? Because light work is now 24 seconds off Scornsey.
I think I'll go through my notes and try and find that. It's not quick to hand, but I will find it. Oh, here we go, Bahrain. It's about 25 seconds. So that's... Wow, okay.
That's kind of crazy, yeah. Lanzi's putting the pressure on Nicky as well going into the last corner. Not a threat of immediate overtake through that corner, of course.
Oh,
but,
it is if he does that.
And there goes Nicky.
No. Oh, that's gone so wrong. Almost a bit of an Aitken move there. A bit earlier on that curve,
yeah.
but still not what you want to see.
Impossible Aitkened it.
Yowie, by the way, is exiting the
pit.
pits. Is he going to come out in front of his teammate? And massive
Quite
overcut there. Yeah.
He will have those cold tyres. Nicky won't have that same problem.
No, he'll have very hot tyres, and Shreya all over him like a bad smell.
There's, Easy Rider swerving all over the place trying to get some heat into those tyres.
Yep, obviously a good idea, especially on hards. Oh, he's a bit wide there. Stay off the curb. Yeah, he's okay. He should be relatively hot now, but he does have these guys all over him at this point.
Nicky could be looking at making a move, honestly, because those hards do take a little while. Scornsey finally in the pit.
Yeah, we've got Ferrari in the pits. What's going to happen here? Surely he goes for the hard tyre. No reason to go onto a 2-stop.
That's going to be really close as well with light work.
Alright, we're going to watch light work here. Shelley takes the lead, so we've got a turtle in the lead of the race. We've got A-Dub in P2. Aston Martin flying down the front straight. I think he'll be in front, but he's going to be vulnerable on those cold tyres. Here comes the Aston Martin. Oh, the Ferrari is wide. It's going to be a move into turn 4, surely. DRS is available.
No, he nearly loses
snap
it.
of oversteer. Light
But
work.
even then, with the DRS, he should be able to mount a challenge.
He's Can you go for the outside,
Scorsese
I would
covering off the
imagine?
inside. It's now
Late
or
on the
never
brakes.
for light work.
Yeah.
Scorsese's tyres not giving him the grip he needs. And
Well
through
done.
he goes on the inside there. You just let Scornsese make the mistake.
Okay,
Trying to brake as late as possible into
it's
that corner with
absolutely
cold tyres, and it
key
didn't work.
that Scornsese stays relatively close. If Lightwork can break the DRS, it's not by all means over, because Scornsese has been shown to be slightly quicker, and also it has the fresher tyres for later in the race. But it'll be just a little bit harder to stay with the Aston Martin in the early laps, and actually it's already blown out to 1.2 seconds. So it just shows you the difference that cold tyres make. Actually,
especially the hards as well. They do not want to heat up. It takes a little while for them to really get up to temperature. But I wouldn't count Scornsese out now. I think Scornse's still my favourite for this race.
I agree.
And the pace that he's demonstrated. For them to be coming out so close together after light work pitted under a VSC, I think that just demonstrates the absolute unbelievable pace that Scornsese has around this track at the moment.
Scornsese did have around a 5-second lead, I believe, before that VSC was deployed. So it definitely made a difference. It's livened the race up, and you're right. Scornsese did have the pace. He still shall, I think.
And Easy Rider Yowie has sorted out his tyre woes, though he does still have those ERS woes, only 5% as he enters the final corner.
This is true.
He may be a little bit too far behind to put pressure on unless he dumps the battery down the main straight, which I don't think he's going to do.
Unfortunately for Red Bull, I think Yoey's presence giving the DRS to Nicky, or not trying to, but has been forced to give the DRS to Nicky, has allowed Nicky to stay in front of the other Red Bull in Sharia, who I think otherwise would be passed. Nicky obviously still needs to make his pit stop. He is currently on medium, so does he try and get to soft? He needs to go another maybe 4 laps, I'd say, at least. Maybe 3. He might be able to get away with that. That's definitely what the front two are going to try, having started on hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's most definitely a possibility. Nicky definitely can get past Easy Rider Yowie if he just dumps the battery down the main straight as he gets a little bit of a wobble. Sharia might be past him here into the hairpin. They're going to be side by side. Will Nicky back out of this one? Yes, he will. Sharia swoops around the outside and claims that position. Nicky might be able to fight it back though. Sharia deploying his ARS to defend, but he's pretty low on it.
This man's on 15 lap old tyres. I don't know if he's going to have the traction to make a move.
True, but Sharia is not going to have the DRS from his teammate. Nicky has a massive battery advantage. It depends whether he actually wants to make the move though. I'm not convinced that he necessarily does.
Already into the pits?
I have intel that Shelly is going to pit this lap as well.
As Nicky gets a big tank slapper.
Wait. Okay, that's mediums for ADub. Wow, he must have had higher wear than I predicted. Or he just didn't want to go for the softs, I guess.
And Dace could be putting him under pressure as well. I mean, ADub's going to come out ahead, but we know what those cold tyres are like.
Yeah, cold mediums will be better than cold hards. But we'll see how this pans out. I'm on board with Dace for the moment. He's going to open up the flap of the... Oh, he's not. He didn't get DRS.
He didn't get the DRS, that's what I was saying. He was a few tenths out of it as they crossed the detection point.
Okay, that could have been key. Yeah, I mean, ADub's already got temperature, it looks like. We do know that the pad does generate a bit of temperature earlier than the wheel uses, and perhaps the traction control makes a bit of a difference. We know that ADub is a user of full traction control. Interesting. Anyway, we're back on board with Nicky here. He's got Scavney for company now. Scavney's quietly made his way into the top 10, looking perhaps, definitely for P9. Oh, that's
a big wobble by Nicky. Scavney should get himself past here pretty comfortably. Although Nicky does have the DRS, but yeah, it's not going to be enough to defend from Scavney there. Got an Alfa Romeo as well, going slowly there. Tweezer, I think that is. He's not had the best of races. He's missing his front wing now as well as he comes to the last corner.
And here is Shelley into the pits for Williams. Off comes the hard tyres, and go the mediums. Again, not going for the softs in the final stint. And also Nicky, should he not pit here, which is yet to be seen. Let's see. Yeah, he doesn't pit.
He is staying out.
He outlasts the hard runners on mediums.
Interesting strategy call there. I mean, he's got 12 laps left. Could you take softs 12 laps? Would that be smart?
I think you can.
I mean, I'm sure you could do it.
At this point, he's not going to put hards on, is he?
They dropped off after... They've dropped off after about 6 or 7 laps at the start. Obviously, they last a little bit longer now that there's less fuel in the car. But
True.
I'm not entirely convinced by the strategy, but we'll trust the process.
I
See
think
where it
he's
goes.
already given up, the hard laps. I think at this point you just go for the softs. I'm pretty confident 11 laps is possible. 12?
Yep, Stormzy reeling in light work now. He's going to be putting him under pressure coming out of the final corner going into turn 1, I believe. He's been slowly reeling him in over the past few laps.
You're absolutely right. It's the second closest battle on track at the moment, but it is probably the most important. It is for the lead of the race. We've got 4 tenths between Jonathan Dunk and Valentine, the 13th and 14th, and in fact...
And light work, just as we saw with Lanzi before, light work with a massive ERS advantage over Scornsey. So he's been managing that pretty well all race.
Also something to notice, ADAB caught more than 2 seconds by pitting a lap earlier than Shelly.
You're right, yes, ADub is within DRS of Shelley. Shelley has 3.5 seconds in front of him to worry about. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. ADub is going to be challenging for that P4. Dace is 2.5 seconds back of that, so not quite in that fight. Yoi's by himself. Sharia trying to tap into that DRS in front, and Scavney just about holding on to Sharia's DRS as Nicky finally pits. Galloway is now promoted into the top 10.
Yeah, Scornsey just lacking the exit coming out of turn 2-3 there to try and put the pressure on light work down into turn 4, but he can be patient here. He has the time advantage, and I think he has the pace advantage as well. Might want to just regenerate a little bit more ERS before he launches a full attack, but he is right on the back of light work.
Absolutely. Once you catch into the DRS, having used a bit of ERS to do so, you can then afford to back off for a couple laps, save that energy as you mentioned, and then go for a later attack. He's got plenty of time. There's 11 laps to go at the end of this lap, which is, well over a third of the Grand Prix.
VTEC!
VTEC slapping in a fastest lap there on the mediums for Haas. A 31. Alright, well, we're in the 28th in qualifying, so interesting. They're actually getting quite close for the, still having a third of a tank of fuel and also not being on the soft tyre.
Could this be the move here? 5 tenths between them as they come onto the main straight. Obviously Scornsey with the DRS, but Lightwork does have those low wings which you saw from the fight with Lanzi. Scornsey's going to catch up closer, but not quite close enough. He could have sent a dive if he wanted to, but it probably wouldn't have been wise. And Scornsey is a little bit smarter than that, as Shelley immediately beats that fastest lap.
That turn 2 exit curb can be vicious. That right hand curb of turn 3, man, that could have been an absolute disaster.
Shelley caught 2 seconds on Lance in the last few laps, if I'm correct.
You're absolutely right. Lanzi, did he have a slip up? I'm not sure. Shelley is of course on a softer compound, so this could be a battle for the podium, emerging between maybe 3 drivers. ADAB is pulling away from Dace, so I don't know if Dace can catch up for that battle. But ADAB and Shelley are definitely catching
Valentine into turn 1.
Damn, I was a bit late on that one, but there's possibly a challenge back from Valentine. Whew, that was very close margins. Makes the move with the DRS into turn 4. Has the entire car in front as well. Very nice. Well executed move there. Okay, Lanzi's got to be struggling here. What's going on with the Alpine?
11 laps on hards versus 2 laps on medium.
Yeah, so that early pit stop has not paid off whatsoever.
Scornsey's actually dropped back a little bit from light work. The gap getting up to almost 9 tenths of a second there through the third sector, but this is just, you can just cruise up here. We do have,
I think we've got
that
Slayer around
sideways on the track there as well as the leaders catch up to lap him.
He's ghosting, so they shouldn't affect it too much. Yep,
yeah, he stays well out of the way of the leaders.
I'm now
all
seeing,
over the back of
yeah, 5 tenths for P3. The Williams, the number 7 Williams with its wing wide open. No move this lap, but he's definitely in the battle now.
Yeah, and they're neck and neck on ERS as well, so not much of an advantage to be gained either way there, which is probably going to favour Shelley, honestly, because he has that massive tyre advantage.
It'll be super key actually for Shelley to make the move
soon.
as soon as he can, before ADub catches him. If he can make the move before ADUB's in the DRS, That's super important for getting a P3 out of this race.
Looks like he's going for it now. He's burning the ERS as well, but he's just realised he's not going to be close enough, and he's backed off on that one, I think.
They're both pretty
You never know,
similar
he may try and make a cheeky
battery.
move in Sector 3.
I mean, surely you wait for the main straight here. Because if you make a move before it, you're going to be obliterated the next time, you know, trying to defend there. So there's really no sense in making a move elsewhere.
It's going to be touch and go whether he has it. I don't think he's quite got it.
Swansea had a bit of a look
No,
there.
he hasn't quite got it there according to the Delta, I don't think. Shelley has to get past now. He's burning the ERS. So is Lanzi. The DRS wide open as well. He's tucked up in the slipstream. He might just have to send this one. As Lanzi defends the inside there. Neck and neck going into turn 1. Who breaks later? It is going to be Shelley. Lanzi still there on the inside though as they go side by side. Shelley with a slightly worse line as well through turn 3. Still neck and neck. Who gets the DRS here though?
Lanzi.
It's Lanzi.
But the outside, surely, with the better braking performance of the mediums, man, it's hard to see exactly where he is.
And Lanzi makes up the position there. He manages to retain his P3 to, I'm sure, A-Dub's delight.
Absolutely, A-Dub is now in this battle. If A-Dub can make the move on Shelley, that would be key, because then he might be able to get past Lanzi first and escape. That's got to be his aim. Pass before Shelley gets past Lanzi. Oh, and there it is.
Shelley's made a mistake. A-Dub's going to be past here.
Oh, wow. Shelley was looking at a potential P3 here, but now he's in P5.
He might look at making a move on A-Dub, though, going down the inside at the end of the straight. Is he going to try it? He is, but I think A-Dub's got the better line there. Shelley went way too tight over the curb there, and he really compromised his exit speed. So we've got yellow flags. That's a Ferrari of Valentine facing the wrong way in the S section. Scornsey putting the pressure on Lightwork. Scornsey's burned straight back through his ERS again. I think he tried a little bit of an attack, and he might try it down into turn 1 actually. Tucked up in the slipstream, he pulls to the inside. Just thinks better of it, takes a slightly wider line. Trying to get the exit to maybe challenge into turn 4. He is closer than he has been on previous laps.
I tell you what, Lightwork seems pretty confident under brakes. Like really confident of his... Oh, as they clash!
And there he goes. Scornsey's going to wait for Lightwork to get it turned back around.
God. That was a lap car, by the way, I think. Slayer going past.
Hats off there to Scornsey. Hats off there to Scornsey.
Yep, so I guess
credit there.
Didn't actually go past, but sort of readdressing is the right term for that. They remain first and second. Question now is there damage to either car? Either a diffuser or a rear wing for Lightwork, a front wing for Scornsey? He's actually out of DRS.
Makers, he's dropped back a bit. Talking about damage, Tweezer once again has no front wing. He's had a spin in Sector 3.
Also into the pits is Valentine. Not sure if that's the tyres or a wing. But yeah, P3, a bit too far back to take advantage of the collision between Lightwork and Scornsey, as we have yellow flags. Where?
Yeah, I think they're just ghost yellow flags.
Yeah, ghost yellow flags. Dusty now.
As Dusty sets fastest lap. Lightwork might grab a little bit of DRS here as well off the lapped car. Nope. The lapped car's a little bit too smart for that. He wants it for himself.
Right, let's have a quick look here at A-Dub, who might be challenging for P3 now. Again, the idea of getting past the car that's probably slowing the pack and then escaping before the other car gets through applies now for A-Dub in the Mercedes. He might be able to escape as... Okay, I thought maybe that was a pit stop there for Lanzi, but Lanzi got incredible traction off the last turn. Either that or A-Dub got poor traction. Doesn't look like Shelley's challenging from behind. So, yeah, Lanzi setting his car up well for the straight, apparently.
A-Dub all over Lanzi, though.
Again, not much traction. You would expect better traction from the car with the medium tyre.
I think A-Dub is just struggling a little bit for straight line speed.
I think Lanzi's running with a little bit higher down.
A-Dub may get him here, though. Nope, can't quite. Well, we know Lanzi's got relatively high downforce because of the difference between him and Lightwork earlier on in the race, but A-Dub could look to maybe make a move down the inside here. That is ambitious, but I think it's worked out for the Mercedes driver, but Lanzi's going to try and keep it down the inside, and he's going to retain the position. Shelley puts him under pressure. Down the inside goes Shelley. They're going to be side by side to the left-hander, both of which will have DRS.
Off the track. No way he
stays out of the way and doesn't interrupt.
I can identify this
fantastic
immediately. A-Dub is getting worse traction because he's on full traction control. You cannot get the maximum out of it. That's what it is. And that's cost him not only a run at P3 but also P4 there. because when he was pinned to the inside at the previous hairpin, he just could not get the throttle down. Well, he got the throttle down, but it wasn't doing much for him, is what I'm saying. So now Shelley has this opportunity again at P3. Oh, he's got 8% on his battery only. Landsy up with 40%. 24 there for Adub. Flashing away is the rear of the Williams. What's going to happen on this straight?
Shelley once again out-tractions A-Dub though, which should keep him safe with the DRS and the slipstream as well, going into turn 1 despite that lack of ERS.
Quick shout out, by the way, to the entire grid for making lap 24 with no retirements. I know we've had some guys with broken wings, but no retirements is pretty impressive. Galloway now going for his second stop. A 2-stop there for McLaren. He's probably going to go to the soft, I would imagine, at this stage. Yep. Might be a fast lap attempt. He's got a pretty big gap back behind. Might lose out to Knuckles and Jonathan Dunk.
Hats off to Lancy though for keeping the fresh softs behind for 5 laps now.
Absolutely, but with every passing lap, not only do his tyres get older, but the mediums behind him get closer to his sort of stage of tyre life. So it should get easier and easier for him as the laps go on.
And we were talking about the tyre strategy from Nicky earlier on. He is on the hards.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I don't know whether he got Mateer in to do his strategy or what exactly's gone on there.
I will say from my own experience that it is possible that he got tyres that he didn't ask for. But I don't know that for sure. So we might have to ask him at some stage. But surely the soft was the better choice.
Well, you've given him an excuse now.
Well. No comment? Okay, Shelley is now
just won't
applying pressure.
He just needs to chill out on the ER.
Big time.
Good luck to make a move here, though.
I don't know
He's not going to have the ERS to use.
My fellow commentators, but I don't think I've ever been beneath 15% unless it's the last lap. Like, this guy is down at 6%.
Oh, Cornet is pretty bad with the ERS, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. There's an Alfa Romeo going slowly as well.
I think
it's most likely Tweezer.
Yeah, he's been responsible letting cars
blue flags to another level.
Ooh, Shelley, I thought was going to run wide then, but saved it.
And, if we look at the battle between P1 and 2, I say battle, it's not much of a battle anymore. 1.3 seconds.
Well, fighting Galloway.
Aston Martin has gone around. He won't lose a position though, I don't think.
He lost a position.
Almost a second and a half as well between P1 and P2. Light work really starting to disappear into the distance there. Perhaps Scornsey did pick up a little bit of damage from that incident at turn 4, and that might be hampering him.
Either way, they're both still quicker than the cars behind, so not much of a problem in that regard.
So aggressive by Lanzi with the break in the toe, but it's working for him.
Yeah, it's really working.
Shelley just is allergic to saving his ERS.
Look how close he can get into turn 1, but it's not enough at all. And will he be able to make a move into turn 4? I don't think so. He's not quite getting the traction. Lancy's really set up his car, I think, quite well for at least defence, if not moving forward.
I don't know, because it's good for traction, but I don't think it's good for straight line speed.
I think traction's almost more important, though, unless your straight line speed's woefully slow.
I don't know, he really struggled against light work.
Yeah, maybe light work has lower wings than anyone else, as Galloway now sets a 30.1 on softs. Fastest lap there for the McLaren driver. Although, I don't think he gets the point for that. I think you need to be top 10 for the point, if memory serves correctly. This is of course not quite real life points, but still that rule applies of needing to be in the top 10 to get the fastest lap point.
What is Tweezer?
Galloway is only 1.5 seconds of top 10 on the threshold.
This is true, so it will be key for him to try and negotiate past Knuckles to not only score the extra point for being in 10th, but also to make his fastest lap worth a point.
There's also a 4-man fight for P13.
Yeah, so we've got VTech, Jonathan Dunk, Bacon, and Dusty in close proximity. Yeah, that's could be quite tasty. And in fact, I might change to it actually because there's only 1/10 between two of those participants in that battle. Dunk applying the blowtorch to the back of VTech. VTech defending the inside on the back straight. Might not be enough though. He's not got much ERS, or actually neither of them do. Both McLarens here on softs to end the race. Trying for an over and under is Jonathan Dunk. Of course, he's a race winner multiple times last season. Surprising to see him this low in the field. I think he said he turned off an assist for this race. Might be part of the reason. As Galloway does negotiate Knuckles. Sorry we missed that. But we're on board with Dunk as he has a bit of a lunge there towards VTech. Will have DRS now. Neither of them with much ERS to deploy. I think we just lost Bacon again at the last turn, really suffering at that point in the track. Dunk makes the move with DRS. We'll see now if VTech can fight it back in the next zone.
Yeah, A-Dub's starting to struggle to stick with Shelley a little bit. Not alarm bells ringing just yet, but the pace not quite at the same level as Shelley. If Shelley doesn't get this P3, he only has himself to blame for the ARS management. I think that's what it's come down to. He should have been passed about 5 laps ago.
I think that yellow is
said, he
for
might
a
get
lap
past here.
slower.
He is a little bit closer going into turn 1 though.
Okay,
Shelley
we're on
might be
board
able to
then
make
with
the
Shelley.
overtake here.
He'll go to the...
He moves to the
I thought he was going to
outside.
dummy there. I thought he was going to dummy.
Protecting the inside. Lansy will have the DRS as well though, so Shelley really needs to get the better exit here. Maybe push Lansy wide.
God, they're both
he
going to be
goes sideways,
compromised.
he hits
A-Dub
Lansy.
comes through.
A-Dub
Big
goes
podium
Burr.
guy. Super unfortunate for Lansy. Like, he had no reason to lose out to A-Dub, but he was forced into that. Shelley actually maintains that position, which is even more unfortunate for Lansy.
I don't think he'll be retaining that after the race.
Oh, I don't think you can penalise that. I think that's just bad luck. It's really bad luck, but I don't think it's penalisable.
These ghost yellow flags getting a little bit annoying.
Yeah, now on to the battle between the two Red Bulls for 7th and 8th. There is low ERS for Yowie in 7th. There is reasonably low ERS for Sharia just behind, but Sharia does have DRS. So we'll see what happens here. With 2.5 laps to go for those two guys. The leader is onto the penultimate lap, as is Scornsy. And a couple of others actually.
Dusty over to VTech for P14.
Absolutely, Dusty has cleared VTech, as Corno mentions, although there is a bit of a penalty to overcome there for Dusty. I think 3 seconds from that opening lap. Maybe that might be overturnable depending on what the stewards say, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Maybe even a drive-through from the first safety car.
True, he did have that as well. Yeah, actually really tumultuous race there for the AlphaTauri with regard to stewarding.
Both Red Bull drivers completely out of ERS now as well.
0%.
Is Sharia going to look at making the lunge? He thinks about it, but he's way too far back. Easy Rider goes a little bit deep though. Sharia not quite managing to get the traction down though, coming out of turn 1, and I think he may have to settle for P8 here.
Talking of settling, Scornsy has gone off at turn 10 on this last lap, falling back to almost 2.5 seconds now, so light work looking almost set at this point. He'd have to make a mistake big time, as Valentine gets a 10-second.
Yeah, I think there's an argument, maybe not for the penalty for the spin, but Shelley definitely should have given that position back to Lansy. I think it's poor driving standards, perhaps, that he didn't. As we saw Scornsy earlier on the other side of that particular equation.
But it is time to celebrate the first win of the season for light
all
work.
over the back of Easy Rider Yowie.
Okay, we will get on board with that. We just watched the end for Lightwork winning the race. Scornsy has crossed in P2. A-Dub will be unchallenged for P3, I believe. And we're watching the Red Bulls here, 7th and 8th. Which one will cross ahead? Multi 21, anyone? Oh, no, not going to happen.
Yeah, there's nothing Sharia can do there to get past Easy Rider.
Made him vulnerable to Gavin.
Yeah, it's too far back though.
Well, I didn't notice how close Scavney was behind them both as well. There were 2 tenths actually between Scherer and Scavney.
Three had launched it in the last corner, locked up, lost a lot of time.
I think that is it really for the battles. M. Galloway's going to cross the line to take the final position of the top 10.
With the fastest lap, I believe, unless that's been taken.
And Knuckles settles for P11 with Nicky just behind in P12 after a very interesting strategy call. Jonathan Dunk right behind him in P13. Maybe Jonathan Dunk can grab fastest lap. No, he can't. Dusty just behind them. A very poor race actually for Dusty. He's going to drop behind VTEC with the penalty once that's been applied. And Smith Pell round us off in P16.
Oh, catches it. If he crosses the line, we're going to have all 20 entrants who started the race finish the race, which I think deserves a round of applause. No safety cars, only virtuals for broken wings. So everyone making the end is a fantastic way to start the season. ADub, indeed, driver of the day as well, which, if that is correct in terms of who gained the most positions, worth a point.
Yeah, that's usually how they calculate that as well, so yeah. I do wonder if Scornsy picked up maybe just ever so slight damage from the incident there with light work at turn 4, because his pace just wasn't the same after that.
It does
So
seem
he'll
likely.
take a P2, I'm sure.
It does seem likely. Absolutely, P2 well worth. Well, I mean, but all 3 podium guys should be happy with that. Lightwork probably wouldn't have anticipated winning the race after the first stint. Scornsy could have had a lot more damage from that incident. P2 great. And ADAB, of course, sliding into that P3 after the incident between Lanzi and Shelley. All 3 of them should be pretty happy with that, I would imagine. And yes, it was Galloway who emerged with the fastest lap of 30.1. Actually, Lightwork was much closer to that than Scornsy in the end, so maybe the pace was there on the hard tyre for Lightwork. Team-wise, Williams looking good there with both drivers in the top 6. Dace had a pretty quiet day, going from 4th on the grid to 6th, with air gaps on each side of him. Let's have a look.
He never really seemed at the races.
No.
Poor day at the Daces there for the Flying Fish.
Who's your guys' driver of the day? ADUP got the driver of the day by the game, but who do you think is the driver of the day?
Ooh, it's a good question.
I'd be tempted to go with Lightwork, honestly, just for the overall pace.
I tend to agree. I think Lightwork gets that one for me.
I think I might give it to ADUP as well, for keeping it cool, staying behind, waiting for the 2 cars in front to make a mistake. And they did, and he went past getting P3.
Absolutely. Well, guys, do we want to have interviews? I'm not sure we discussed this before. Guys?
You do you?
Okay, I think we might organise that better for next week. In that case, actually. Yeah. Alright. Well, I think we'll wrap up the stream for now. Thank you to Cornet and Will for joining me in the commentary box.
Skid, skid!
That has been the opening round of Season 3 of the Coleslaw Cup in Bahrain. Of course, won again by Lightwork. We enjoyed that very much, I think, in the commentary box. And we'll see you guys in 1 week's time for round 2.